In this HTML tutorial, we're going to talk about inline elements, block elements, and inline block elements. Those are the three main types of displays, and each tag or each element on in an HTML document has a default display type. So you'll notice that like a paragraph tag is by default a block element because a paragraph tag takes up the entire width of its parent element. So basically, let's go ahead and get started here. I've got a blank page, and if we were to add a paragraph tag and we were to give it a background color, we can see the amount, all of the space that this paragraph tag takes up. So we can save it, refresh, and we'll see that it takes up the entire length of the page. And if we were to, so that means that it has a default display type of block element because block elements take up the entire page. And we're going to cover inline block elements soon. So you can do stuff like this, but we'll, you gotta really understand block elements and inline elements before we get to that. So basically this is a block level element, and then there's also unordered lists, and those are by default blocks and divs as well. But let's say we were to change this display type to inline. Go ahead and save that, and now all of a sudden it only takes up a tiny little bit of space. And that's because inline elements share the space. So right here we've got an inline element, and then we've got another inline element, right? So they are able to share space. So if we were to add another inline element onto this page, it's going to share the space, share the width of the space. However, if we were to get rid of the display of inline, paragraph tag again has a default of block. So now what's going to happen? It's going to take up the block level element's going to take up all of the space on its own line. So that's basically the difference between block and inline block and block and inline. Now we'll go ahead and talk about inline block elements. In this video, we'll go ahead and talk about inline block elements. And inline block elements are really useful because it allows you to cut up your page into multiple parts and have block level elements inside of them without taking up the entire page. So for example, this is a block element right here. It takes up the entire page. So what if you wanted to cut your website into two halves? Or maybe you wanted to have like what a typical WordPress blog would look like. You have your main content in this center, and then you have like a little sidebar area. So one way you can deal with that is you can make a giant inline block in the middle, and then you can have like a little sidebar area, and that's its own separate container. So inline block allows you to separate different sections of your website and not have the block level elements take up the entire page. So here would be an example. We have 3 inline block elements, and each of these has a title, which is itself a block element. So without inline block, this block here element would take up the entire section of this page. It would take up all of this. So this, and this would have to be on 3 separate lines. But with inline block, we're able to kind of create segments or sections of our website. And by doing that, we can create a website that looks just about any way that you want it to look. So let's go ahead and let's go ahead and mess around, and we'll try to recreate something like this. So basically what you would want to do, let's go ahead and start with just an H3 element. And we have block, and let's give it a background color. Pink. And it takes up the entire space. So now if we put it inside of a div, and make this div inline block. Oh. So this div is inline block now, and there's an H3 inside of it. So we'll go ahead and save that and refresh. Oh, display colon inline block. Refresh, and now it almost looks like a regular old inline element, and that's because it basically is. But let's go ahead and make this div a little bit wider, so we can set the width to 350 pixels, just because. And now we're able to center the block element without it going all the way into the middle. We can have it just in the center of this pink area. So we can go ahead and do text. Oh, not there. We would do it on the H3. So we can do text align center. We'll save that. And now it goes just into the center of this area, this section. So now inside of this div, we can create another div if you wanted to. And this div can be inline block as well. Oops, I did that again. Display inline block. And now let's go ahead and create an unordered list. Okay, so we'll go ahead and save that and see what that looks like. Okay, and let's go ahead and give this unordered list a background color. We'll give it light green. And what did I do wrong? Oh. Okay, so this list is light green. And now if we wanted another... Oh, and we'll want to... we'll want to make the entire div. So right now, the H3 is pink, but the rest of the entire div has no color. So let's go ahead and give that color, or give it a color. And that way we can see the entire container that we're working inside. So now we're working inside of our entire inline block is this yellow chunk, and everything else, everything inside it is within the yellow chunk div. So that's basically what we're working with here. So if we wanted to make another list item, or another list that goes next to it, we would want to do another inline block. So if we took this and made it and just copied and pasted, because it's inline block, it's going to share the space. But if we were to make it display block, it can't share the space because a block level element is going to take up the entire space of the entire width of its parent element. And in this case, this unordered list is within a block div, and this block takes up all the space of this 350 pixels here. So this UL, oops, oh no, what did I do? This UL is inside of this div, and this div, which is display of block, is inside of this larger div here. So because this is block, it takes up all of the space. So that's why we want to have it inline block, so it can share the space. So that's basically how you can do that, or how you can make your website look basically any way you want. So Now, if you wanted to make a buy now button underneath it or something, you could go outside of this div, or outside of this div, but still inside of the yellow, the div with the background of the yellow, and you could make a buy now button. So we could say h3 buy now button. Save that, and we got it. Refresh. And now we have this buy now button. And if you want to text align it, make it a little bit better looking, center, and there you go. So with this knowledge, with the knowledge of inline block, and block, you should be able to go around different websites and try to replicate how the site looks. So you could try to make 3 different inline blocks with 3 different videos and text underneath them. Or you could have this here where you have one big section over here and then another section over here for an advertisement or something like that. So I highly recommend messing around and playing with that, and just take some time getting comfortable with inline block, and block elements, and putting them all together to make a website look the way you want it. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Learn to code for free with our Build a Career in Technology ebook, where we teach you how to code and improve your skills as a programmer, and talk about different ways to build a career in technology, like getting a job, freelancing, and building a company. You can get this free guide by clicking on these links somewhere on the screen, or click the link in the description. Also, be sure to subscribe to our channel for more tutorials. Please like the video and leave a comment. Have a great day.